1 killing, that's incredible. Points drop when winning at half-time. You know, Arsenal have only dropped 2. They've dropped 15. You know, that's not title-winning behaviour and not what we normally expect from them. If you look at other seasons, they average 5.8. Goals from substitutes. City have always... I think of Man City over the years, Micah, you will know better than anyone, this club has had so many opportunities for subs to come on and win you the game, but to only have 2, and it hasn't obviously changed tonight, that's staggering as well.
Is that on Guardiola then? Is that on him and the substitutes that he's bringing on? Is it about the squad? Is it about the level of... Because they have depth, don't they? So they have players who can come on and make a difference.
Obviously an anomaly because they had so many good subs, but normally there's always players that can come on and make a difference. And yeah, I mean, even... You know, Reinders has been playing a lot, been sub a lot. You think, well, maybe he can come on. And that has been a difference, you know, because there's been so many times over the years when City have saved it from their substitutes. But there's a number of... and Pep said it himself. There's a number of reasons why they're in the position they are. They lost 2 out of their first 3 games as well, I think, Brighton and Tottenham Hotspur. So that's not the start you want either. That's not really going to set you up for the season.
Not particularly, no. I think if he asked us before, which he did, Man City, I think it was going to be a comfortable result. You know, when you look at the fixtures there, it was always the Everton one was always going to be tough because of David Moyes and how he sets up his teams. A very good team. But Bournemouth and what they're fighting for this season, potentially Champions League, and the way they play, when they go on the counter-attack, they really go with pace and power. So I'm looking at that game thinking they could cause Man City problems. On the flip side of that, because they do play and the stretch, Man City could actually counter them as well. So that'd be an interesting game. For Arsenal, they've just got to do what they've been doing all season. We mentioned moments in the game. Some would say they got the rub of the green against West Ham. But I think the thing is, with Arsenal, we're constantly saying, have they got the leaders to take them over the line? And I think they've shown up until this point they have, because they've stayed in. Maybe some of the results they've not played as well as they'd like to play, but in terms of staying in the game and being in a position where they're favourites now, no one can say they're bottling it anymore. I said a couple of weeks Arsenal are not bottling it. It's just the fact that they wasn't playing well. They got a good game against Fulham. It sort of turned their fortunes, and then against West Ham.
They played well here as well, didn't they? They were unlucky.
They were unlucky here, yeah.
I think they were taking a lot from that performance, because since then they've done everything.
No, but I think with that performance, yes, there was bits that you can take from it, but ultimately they lost the game. And you know what it's like as a footballer. Confidence is so key. And maybe the Arsenal of last season, maybe the confidence would have drained from them a little bit, but it doesn't think like it has this season. I think it will go down to the last game of the season. I just remember that season where QPR at home, as everyone knows the famous Aguero goal, but everyone talks about nerves and confidence and all that sort of thing. And I just remember being in the dressing room before the game, and I could feel the tension. You know, normally you have leaders in the dressing room where you look to them, and if they're cool, it makes you feel better. At times in the dressing room, it wasn't like that. There was a nervy feeling. And that's why when we talk about can Man City catch Arsenal, I always
were you more like Arsenal in that situation, do you think?
We'd never won it before. We'd never won it before, and we was up against Sir Alex Ferguson, the great Man United team. And before the game, I remember looking to my right and Vincent Kompany, and he's normally just in the zone, but he was fidgeting. He was fidgeting. That's what I'm thinking. Is he nervous?
Opportunity they've got. Burnley at home on a Monday night football. The atmosphere is going to be red hot. I think they've got the players, the capability of playing against a side that's already been relegated. Then you're playing Crystal Palace to have a cup final, a big European cup final a few days after that last day of the season. So things have not fallen in their favour. They deserve this. They deserve to get that to this point. So, and they've had to work so hard. And you can only imagine the emotion every time he's probably watching the game tonight. Mikel Arteta, seeing how they're playing, looking at the team beforehand, thinking, OK, we might have a chance here. But they are relentless, City. They keep keeping you honest, if you like, and they have done that so well. But I just feel right now, after Sunday, at being in that game, I just think this is Arsenal's this season.
It's 3 days after their European final, so they might well have been in celebration mode.
Look at you, they've just provided all the doubt here.
But, excuse me?
But I'm trying to be positive here, and you're just saying,
No, we're covering all scenarios. But Bournemouth away, on paper, is the hardest game. And City have to win that, whatever happens, to take it to the final day.
I don't know. Are Aston Villa guaranteed Champions League? because I don't know.
Not yet.
Exactly. So if they don't win Europa
But
League...
they could beat Liverpool on Friday and beat them.
Yeah, well, then hopefully that's the case, because if they don't...
From
and they
Manchester
need to
City's
go,
point of view,
they
I'm
don't
keen
go
point
to...
out.
from a Villa fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in regards to that, they could go to the Etihad and need to win to get into the Champions League.
Yeah.
So it could.
What's the last thing City won?
Yeah, there's so many factors that could be against City and for Arsenal and vice
like
versa.
I say, that's if it goes to the final day. That Bournemouth away game is crucial. Whatever happens now, City have to win that to take this race to the final day.
Yeah, and I think that was a given anyway. Regardless, even if they hadn't dropped points against Everton, that was still the case. I do believe that is probably the toughest fixture, like you said, for a number of reasons. Their European campaign and Iriola's last game at home. So there's so
Bournemouth
many...
still in the hunt, Champions League? Yeah.
Bournemouth, absolutely,
Yeah.
Because remember, if Villa finish 5th where they are now and win the Europa League, then 6th is Champions League.
Yeah.
And Iraola won't be there to see it.
I mean, my brain hurts from all these
Equations,
different equations. Yeah. No, I mean, to be fair, I think it's been such an interesting season because there's been so many twists and turns. Even like the Arsenal West Ham game the other day, it was just
crazy.
It was crazy, and that's why I just still think that we might get one more.
Yeah. So just to remind, to say what I was telling Jolien there, the first game of this weekend is Villa-Liverpool Friday night. If Villa win that, then they are guaranteed Champions League football.
So again, that is not a given to play Liverpool. It's not a given to beat them. Liverpool obviously need the points themselves. So, but even if there is a winner in that game, Bournemouth win their last 2 games, and they qualify.
They could do.
Yeah, they could qualify. So it's
they
still
can get
everything to play for.
points. And Liverpool or Villa could lose both of those or only get 1 more point.
Well, even Brighton are in the mix, aren't they?
Yeah, but they're not playing Manchester City.
No, I
next
know,
Tuesday.
I know, but I'm just saying that. I mean,
They are, absolutely. Yes.
you know, and we've got Leeds away and United at home, so that'll change, I think.
It has to change. Not all of them can win and not all of them can lose. So it's definitely going to change. It's just in favour of which team. And you have to say it's going to be in favour of Arsenal. I don't see them dropping points against Burnley, the greatest respect. And you'd like to think in the last game of the season they would see it out.
But you would like to think, as difficult as it is, if City know they've got to win at Bournemouth, they could do and take this wonderful race to the final day.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I was at the Emirates, Bournemouth against Arsenal, and I sat right behind Iraola, and I couldn't believe how good his team played. I couldn't believe what a job he did, how calm he was. Stevie just stood there, just making notes, really chill. Everybody else around him was stressed and chaotic, and I think I couldn't get over how composed and how brilliant his team played tactically. Absolutely. You know, steamrolled Arsenal at the Emirates, so they could easily beat Manchester City. But again, he's playing for probably one of the biggest jobs if he wants one. He's obviously leaving Bournemouth. And I think he deserves a top job because his team's in possession, out of possession, they're exceptional. They play super aggressive. Players improve. He sells half his team. He doesn't care. He makes them better. And they've got some real flair in there as well. Ryan is a terrific player on that right-hand side. He's found a bit of form. So, yeah, anything could happen, I think, in any of these games.
And what it does mean as well is if Arsenal do win the league, they can't win it and lift the trophy at home now with this scenario. It would either be obviously dancing around their living rooms on Tuesday night when City don't win at Bournemouth, or at Crystal Palace. So they can't do it at the Emirates, Arsenal.
Yes, and I don't think there's a bad way to win the trophy in a bad location. They'll be celebrating.
After 22 years.
Yeah, I think they'll find a way to celebrate and
Wherever
watch and congregate together. I'm sure the fans will enjoy it. So, listen, ideally...
In an ideal world, the fans want to see it, but...
Yeah, of course you do. Ideally, you want to do it at home, the last game of the season, whatever that looks like. But if you're winning it after 22 years, as you said, you take it at Selhurst Park.
I mean, it will be... I mean, they still got the Champions League final to play for. I know they're underdogs against PSG, but to take that momentum into that type of game, in a one-off game, they can beat PSG. You know, with David Raya and that back four, I think Declan Rice is going to start... It will play deeper, play as a 6 in that Champions League final. So, still so much to play for. And it could be a historic season for Arsenal.
You two both won it on the last day in the Premier League. That's what we want, isn't it? We want that nerves and drama and
Now I'm out of the game, yeah. When I was in the game, I don't want it like that at all. But yeah, it is obviously very more dramatic to win it that way. But so I think both of them teams now would take winning it the penultimate game of the season.
You won it at Wigan, didn't you? Of all places. Yeah. But mind you, about half the stadium that they were United fans, to be fair.
But you know what? I didn't think there was any. I don't even know. I didn't even think for half a second there was any doubt. Not even. And we had a Champions League final to come as well. So I just think you kind of had this inner belief that you were going to get over the line.
You were in a similar situation to what Arsenal are now.
Yeah, but you had a lot more experience at winning.
Yeah,
It's less nerves. So
I'd say no nerves.
Yeah. And if you didn't win the league...
I'm not trying to be that.
Yeah.
Steve, I swear I didn't even start the game. I'm thinking, we'll be good, yeah. You know, I mean, Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez, Giggs, I mean, you could pick any of them and we would have been good.
He's just showing off now, dropping names.
Let's not
talk about nerves and two Champions League final penalty shootouts, because we digress. That's a fascinating story. Let's get back to the game tonight. Phil Foden, we talked. Vardiol is waiting to speak to us, who made his return, of course, tonight after 27 games out. And what a return with that win. Josko, well done. How good does that feel?
Thank you, guys. First of all, hi to everyone. Finally I'm back. It hasn't been easy job and journey, but yeah, I'm glad to be back and glad to get some first minutes as well.
And also to be...
This reaction has completely intensified the Premier League title race conversation after Owen Hargreaves openly slammed Manchester City by declaring that recent performances are not title-winning behaviour. And that statement immediately sent shockwaves across football, because when a team with City's standards starts being questioned publicly, it shows just how much pressure now surrounds the race, and at the same time it has naturally increased belief around Arsenal FC potentially going all the way and finally winning the league. Now looking at why Hargreaves reacted so strongly, it comes down to mentality, consistency and control, because according to him, title-winning teams do not repeatedly allow games to become chaotic, they do not lose concentration in key moments, and they certainly do not continue dropping points in situations where they are expected to show authority and composure. And from his perspective, Manchester City have recently shown signs of vulnerability that simply were not present during previous championship runs. Now tactically, City still possess enormous quality. They continue dominating possession, creating chances and controlling long periods of matches, but the biggest concern has become what happens during difficult moments, because whenever opponents increase intensity, press aggressively or force transitions, City suddenly look less secure defensively and emotionally, and that shift has surprised many people considering the level of experience and success inside the squad. Now Hargreaves specifically focused on body language, reactions after setbacks and the inability to fully control matches once momentum changes, and according to him, those details matter enormously during title races, because championships are rarely won purely through talent, they are won through mentality, discipline and resilience across the final months of a season. Now naturally this conversation immediately turns attention toward Arsenal, because while City are facing criticism, Arsenal appear to be growing stronger emotionally and tactically under Mikel Arteta, and that contrast is becoming impossible to ignore. Where City now look vulnerable in certain moments, Arsenal increasingly look composed, confident and capable of grinding out difficult results even when performances are not perfect, and that mentality shift may ultimately become the deciding factor in the title race. Now another key point Hargreaves highlighted is energy, because throughout previous title-winning campaigns, Manchester City often looked relentless physically and mentally, constantly overwhelming opponents with intensity, movement and precision, but recently there have been periods where the urgency appears slightly lower and opponents are beginning to believe they can hurt them, and in football, belief changes everything. Once teams stop fearing the champions, matches become far more dangerous and unpredictable. Now from Arsenal's perspective, this creates a huge opportunity, because title races are often shaped not only by your own consistency but also by the timing of rival mistakes, and if City continues showing vulnerability, Arsenal suddenly move from hopeful challengers to genuine favourites in the eyes of many pundits and supporters. Now of course, writing Manchester City off completely would still be dangerous, because they possess experienced world-class players and a manager who has already proven capable of handling pressure situations repeatedly over many seasons. However, the reason Hargreaves' comments gain so much attention is because they reflect something many fans are beginning to notice: this version of City does not currently look as untouchable as previous title-winning sides. Now another fascinating part of the debate is psychological momentum, because Arsenal now appear to be carrying belief, confidence and emotional energy, while City are increasingly facing questions, criticism